All right, today we're going to step into a totally different stream of time. We're diving into a calendar that's not just about marking days, but about experiencing the year in a completely different way, the Ethiopian liturgical calendar. Let's get right into it.
So, what if I told you that your calendar had a secret 13th month, a month of sunshine? And what if I told you that the year isn't what you think it is, that you're actually living 7 years in the past? Sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? Well, get this, it's the everyday reality for millions of people who follow the Ethiopian calendar.
So what's behind this huge 7 or 8 year gap? It's not a mistake, it's not a glitch in the matrix. It all comes down to a different calculation for a key moment in history, the Annunciation, when the angel Gabriel told the Virgin Mary she would conceive Jesus. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church and the Roman Catholic Church calculated that date differently centuries ago, and that one single difference set these two timelines on completely separate paths.
So, how does this whole thing work? We're going to unpack it in 5 parts. First, we'll look at the simple genius of having 13 months. Then we'll see how the year kind of dances to 2 different beats at once. We'll explore how saints are honored not just once a year, but every single month. We'll dive into the incredible seasons of fasting and feasting, and finally, we'll find the master key that brings it all together. Okay, first things first, let's look at the mechanics. How do you even build a year with 13 months? Well, it turns out the blueprint for this is seriously ancient. The whole system is built on something called the Alexandrian year. You can think of it as the original ancient Egyptian solar calendar that got a software update from the Julian calendar back in the Roman era. So while most of the world eventually moved on to the Gregorian calendar we use today, Ethiopia's system held on to this much older way of tracking the sun.
And this is where you see its beautiful simplicity. You know that whole 30 days hath September rhyme we have to remember? Yeah, you can just toss that out the window here. In the Ethiopian calendar, the first 12 months all have exactly 30 days, every single one. It's just so clean, so predictable.
But if you're doing the math, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, 12 times 30 is only 360 days. What about the other 5? And that, my friends, is where our mysterious 13th month comes in. It's called Pagwamin, and it's this short little mini-month of 5 days, or 6 in a leap year, tacked on at the end. It's the month of sunshine that perfectly syncs everything back up.
And even the leap year is handled in this really cool, elegant way. It's a simple 4-year cycle, and each year is named after one of the 4 gospel writers, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The year of Luke, that's always the leap year. Simple as that. And that's when Pagwamin gets its extra 6th day. So that's the basic structure. Now let's see how it shapes the whole spiritual rhythm of the year.
Okay, so we've got the nuts and bolts down, but the real soul of this calendar is how it's used for worship. You see, the Ethiopian year is basically running on 2 different tracks at the same time. Think of it like 2 rhythms playing in harmony. You've got the temporal and the sanctoral.
Let's break that down. The temporal cycle is the mobile one. It all revolves around Easter, and since Easter's date changes every year, all the big seasons like Lent move right along with it. The sanctoral cycle, on the other hand, is completely fixed. It's like your birthday. It happens on the exact same date every single year, no matter what.
The temporal cycle is really the dramatic heart of the year. It tells the big story. It builds all this anticipation with long periods of fasting, and then it culminates in these massive celebrations like Easter. This is where the main narrative of the year really unfolds. So if the temporal is the main story, the sanctoral is like the year's constant heartbeat. It's the steady, daily rhythm of remembering saints, martyrs, and important events. It fills the calendar with all these incredible figures from history, making sure there's that connection to the past every single day.
Let's zoom in on that sanctoral cycle for a minute, because it has this one feature that is just incredibly popular and really gets to the devotional heart of Ethiopian spirituality.
And here's the key. In Ethiopia, the most beloved saints aren't just celebrated once a year. Nope, they're honored every single month on the exact same day. I mean, imagine celebrating your favorite holiday not once, but 12 times a year. That's the kind of powerful, recurring devotion we're talking about.
So, for example, you can always count on the 12th day of every single month being a feast for the Archangel Michael. The 21st of every month honors Our Lady Mary. This turns the calendar from just a grid of dates into this living tapestry of remembrance, weaving these important figures into the rhythm of daily life.
All right, let's swing our focus back to the temporal cycle now, because this is where we find those big narrative arcs of the year, all defined by that powerful rhythm of fasting and feasting.
The basic pattern here is simple but incredibly powerful. Preparation, then celebration. Believers go through these long, disciplined fasts as a time for spiritual focus and reflection, and those periods of denial then give way to these enormous, joyful feasts that are the absolute high points of the year. Now, while Easter is the big mobile feast, the calendar is also anchored by 9 major fixed feasts of the Lord. And you can see some of the biggest ones right here, like Ladat, which is the Nativity, and the absolutely massive national celebration of Moscow, which commemorates the finding of the true cross. So, you have 2 complex cycles, one fixed, one mobile, running side by side all year long. It sounds pretty complicated, right? How does a priest or anyone know what scripture to read on any given day? Well, there's a master blueprint that brings it all together beautifully.
It's called the Geshe Way. You can think of it as the ultimate instruction manual for the Ethiopian year. It's part perpetual calendar and part lectionary, which means it has the specific Bible passages assigned to every single day, for every feast, every fast, and every commemoration. The genius of the Geshe Way is how it acts like a loom, masterfully weaving those 2 different threads, the mobile temporal cycle and the fixed sanctural cycle, into one single coherent tapestry. It makes sure that on any given day, the scripture reading perfectly reflects the meaning of that specific day, whether it's a major feast or a minor saint's day.
And this quote really gets to the heart of why this whole system exists. It's not just about rigid organization for its own sake, it's all about harmony. It's about creating a shared spiritual experience for the whole community where the prayers, the readings, and the teachings are all perfectly aligned, all telling the same story together.
So in the end, the Ethiopian calendar is this incredible reminder that a calendar isn't just for counting days. It's a framework for life, a container for faith, and a map of memory. And it leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. How does the calendar hanging on your own wall with its own unique rhythms quietly shape the way you see the world?